Hey, and welcome to this newest video. My name is Johan, and in this video, second video about Intel Chip to Cloud and Omnissa Workspace ONE, I would like to kind of take you through one of the services that we created using Omnissa Workspace ONE, Intel Chip to Cloud, and a solution called Login Enterprise by Login VSI, and combined, they make something awesome. So let me kind of guide you through one of the challenges we see at customers. And it's focused on the security aspect of physical endpoints. You know, when looking at the security aspect of virtual desktops, it's fairly simple, right? So we have a full estate of virtual desktops. If we want to patch a virtual machine, a virtual desktop, we basically patch the base image, create new virtual desktops on the fly, or patch those individual full clones. But we have something we call a snapshot to our disposal. So in case something goes wrong, we can immediately go back to a previous state. With a physical endpoint, we don't have that. But still, you want to be in control over what's happening in your physical estate. So this is where these solutions combined really stand out. Three main issues we currently see at customers are patching of endpoints takes time, a lot of time. It's just a simple fact. Patching a single endpoint takes time. Could be done overnight, could be done by day, and it's just not just the endpoint. It's also the application. It's also the operating system. It's the hardware. Anything could be patched, and that comes. That kind of ties into the second bullet here. Because patching takes time, and we know for a fact that the number of updates you need to run increase on a day-to-day basis. So take a browser as an example. Modern browsers are probably updated on a per week basis. And if you don't have just one, maybe two or three different browsers, that also means that on a weekly basis, you're patching those three browsers. But you're also patching your operating system, other applications that might be deployed on the machine as well. So the number of updates you need to run definitely increases. And the third item, is the number of administrative overhead when it comes to patching those systems. And administrative overhead means like the time you need to patch every single system multiplied by the number of systems that you have and multiplied by the number of updates you have. Looking at all of those tasks from an IT perspective, this costs a lot of time. And the biggest issue isn't really time. The biggest issue might be that one of those updates might pose a risk. And we've seen that happening in the last 12 months. We saw a big public company forcing updates to systems all around the world. And as an effect, those systems that got updated turned into got blue screens. So you want to stay away from that to kind of automate the patching. But you don't want to automate everything, or maybe you do, but you want to kind of control the outcome. This is where all of these solutions come into play. So what we do is we take an endpoint, and I'll use a different color for that. We take an endpoint. And, on that endpoint, we have Windows 11 with a bunch of applications. Now, suddenly, a CVE is being released. So a CVE means that there's a security risk being identified, and based on that CVE, we need to do something. You might, like in a current situation, might decide to roll out that patch to every single system you have, but you don't know what the outcome is. Well, sure, you can test it, and then you need to take care of all of the applications that run on it. What happens if you would run or patch such a system, and one of the applications that you run on the physical machine gets impacted by the patch? either from a performance perspective or compatibility or something else. That's a challenge. So what we have built is a service in which if a CVE is released and we have a Windows 11 machine as a template machine that we could use for testing, we basically, first of all, power on the machine using Intel Chip to Cloud. So workflow is being executed from a Workspace ONE perspective. Workspace ONE tells Chip to Cloud to power on the machine. Machine is powered on. Next thing that happens, really cool, is that we use login VSI, login enterprise, to basically run a full test script on the current endpoint, in the current state, which means we test, for instance, a set of applications that are really important to your organization. And within these applications, we test what the start time of an app is. How long does it take for an end user to kind of go through a certain workflow? We can test all sorts of things. Depending on the type of test, that could take, a couple of minutes to maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but this fully runs automated, so that's pretty cool. Then, the next thing that happens is we patch the system. Because based on this test, we get a report with a certain benchmark. The benchmark ran for 15 minutes. These were kind of the spikes when it comes to performance, so we kind of know what to expect. Then we patch the system, and that workflow is being executed by Workspace ONE. So the system is patched, and the next thing that happens is that login enterprise starts testing again. Oh, there's an arrow. Starts testing again. And in this case, we're testing the new scenario, the new situation. So we compare basically the benchmark from the new test with the old one, the results, and see what the difference is. Is there a difference? Then two things could happen. The difference is, well, maybe three things could happen, to be fairly honest. First thing is, it is a definite no-go, because after we patch the system, either performance could be negatively impacted, or applications don't start anymore, or you get a blue screen or something else. So something is impacted, and when that happened, we notify the admin or the IT team, and based on that notification, you can do additional research to basically remediate the issue. Second thing that could happen, and the third thing, by the way, is situation is equal, which means it's a go, or situation is approved for some reason. Could be that you're applying a patch that remediates certain performance issues. So in either of these scenarios, you basically want to continue and go to the next phase, which is staging the update for your first group of physical endpoints. So this is basically what happens then. So we basically roll out the update to a certain number of physical endpoints and see the results. Now, from this perspective, we could do additional two things: either run another test workloads on one of those endpoints, or we just consider the test to be fully validated and roll it out. We can do this overnight. During the day, doesn't really matter. Stage it on a single machine, like a single type. This could be, a Dell machine. Maybe you have HPE or whatsoever. For every type of endpoint that you have, or every brand of endpoint you have, we can set this up as an additional use case. And be fully in control over, first of all, the time it requires to patch, because patching time is quite often impacted by the time you need to test something. Second thing is that determining on the number of updates you need to run on a weekly basis, the time to test is being impacted as well. So what happens if you can do this fully overnight, and in the next morning, when you come back in the office, you just have a report saying, well, the test failed, the test succeeded, nothing happened, no impact, and we'll automatically stage it, or the test improved what, in whatever scenario you wanted to test it and find an improvement. And because of this, automatically the overhead to your admin team decreases, because the testing of all of these individual applications might require impact of your end users, because someone might own an application. You want them to test drive an application after you updated a base image, or vice versa. So that's being automated as a whole using this process. So why is this awesome? Because we fully leverage the power of Omnissa Workspace ONE to build an automated flow. Second, we use Intel chip to cloud to power on devices, power off devices, and making sure that the entire workflow runs overnight without you having to power on a device, for instance. And next, using Login Enterprise, we can fully automate the test, the run of a benchmark, and the retrieval of information of that benchmark from your physical endpoints, and have such a report available the next morning in your mailbox. So, if you like to have more information about how we can help your organization simplify patch management and reducing the time needed to run those patches and those updates, obviously feel free to reach out. For now, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.